Hello and welcome back to the show where you can sit, relax and watch some marvellous artists paint some famous faces. And then to get rid of some pent-up tension, you can scream at the television in total disagreement with our judges.
In today's heat, each of our 9 new artists has taken their own approach. In submitting their self-portrait, one needed just 10 days, another took 4 weeks, and one took 6 months. Today, they've got just 4 hours.
And to think the makeup lady achieved this in just under 2.5 hours.
Miracle.
Amazing.
You could win.
Welcome to Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year 2018.
Today, we have a completely new group of artists going brush to brush, and 5 of them are professional. Alex Philippe, Danny Howes, Samantha Fellows, Marcus Callum, and Jessica Wolfson.
Feeling quite terrified. My paintings aren't always planned. Like, I just paint them and then they work, and if they don't, they don't.
And joining them are 4 amateur artists, Nikki Duffy, Lynn Aylward, Marion Miranda, and Dave Duffy.
The standard is really, really high, but I'm not trying to let that bother me and just going to focus on my own thing.
These 9 artists are being challenged to paint 3 highly celebrated actors.
Is he nodding off a bit now?
He is a bit, yeah.
They'll be working against the clock,
Well, I don't want to tweak it too much. I'm a bit worried about losing it at the last minute.
all to impress our 3 judges.
It looks like you've got it all planned, but actually you've got all these options.
Well, there's so million options out there.
And there's a fabulous prize at stake, a £10,000 commission to paint the multi-award-winning actress Kim Cattrall for the Walker Art Gallery in her home city of Liverpool.
But first they have to create a work of art worthy of a place in the semi-final. When I come back in 20 minutes' time, this could be a masterpiece.
Or I could have screwed it all. I mean, I could go either way.
Still, that's what this show's all about. Good luck. As the artists settle into their surroundings, the judges have a chance to evaluate their submissions. A lot of people send in a lot of self-portraits, and you, our 3 esteemed judges, picked the pick of the crop.
Yep.
Shall we examine them more closely?
Let's do it.
I liked this because a portrait can be just about trying to look for something, and it's a kind of record of that search. So it's a different sort of painting, but I think it's very touching in its way. This guy is really a master of his technique.
He's looking hard at himself, isn't he? That's what we're seeing. It looks like Antigone, who painted the Queen.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And he's given us a 3/4 length, which is good.
I love the loose wash of the face.
When you look at the hair, for example, it's quite accomplished.
This is one that conjured a really specific moment.
We get so many heads and shoulders. To see somebody try something a bit more elaborate is great. This is very different from what we've seen up to now on the wall.
It's got that sort of background behind her so that she pops forward in that way. I think it's quite clever.
We do talk a lot about good, honest painting, and it's quite interesting how well observed it is. There's 2 highlights on the clock, and they're different colours because the metal is slightly different. It really works very well.
This one, though it's got a caricature composition, doesn't feel like a caricature. It feels really quite heartfelt, actually, to me.
Would you like it more or less if it was mounted on the back of an enormous spoon?
I'm going to go less.
OK, less. I thought so.
It's absolutely stunning, the way that light is falling across her face. It's not that sophisticated in the application of paint, but I am seduced by it.
This is so intimate. You're almost sort of bending down to give her a goodnight kiss on the cheek.
It feels like autumnal light filtering through some foliage. So it's very clever.
To me, it says morning. The look says, guess why I'm upset. And then we're going to spend maybe the whole day trying to work that out. Don't you find the eyes accusing?
No.
Anyway, it's a fabulous collection, isn't it?
It's very...
Really, really good set.
Well chosen, guys.
Thank you.
Painting your own portrait is one thing, but painting a celebrity sitter, well, it all depends who it is.
Artist, your sitter today was a poor beleaguered mother in Outnumbered. She's a surgeon in the TV drama Critical, and she was a loving daughter in the theatre production The Father. She is the fabulous Claire Skinner. Since starring in Mike Leigh's Life is Sweet, Claire has enjoyed an impressive career in many critically acclaimed productions for television, radio, theatre and film. I noticed you didn't shake my hand.
No, I didn't bother.
I have some hand sanitizer if you're worried. So, what would you say was your distinguishing look, Claire? Are you elfin? Are you graceful?
Oh, well, no, I don't see myself as that at all. And I just don't think anyone could see me as badly as I see myself. So I've got quite a sort of twisted version of myself, I think.
OK, well, hopefully one of them will bring
Pick
that
up on
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Artist, your sitter is one of the country's most distinguished stage, screen and television actors. After a career spanning 50 years, he's played gangsters, tearaways. He's even played the father of Claire Skinner, who's just next door. So please welcome Kenneth Cranham. Beginning his acting career in the 60s in plays by Joe Orton and Harold Pinter, Kenneth has performed in hundreds of starring roles over half a century. Hello, my old friend. How are you?
I'm all right, my darling.
Come and sit down. Now, what is this?
Oh, these are some images I brought of myself. Look, that's me in Oliver, and I was Noah Claypole. That was me at 21. What can you do?
Artist, your sitter today is an actor who, after an impressive start at the Royal Shakespeare Company, went on to play roles as diverse as a physical restraint robot in Channel 4's Humans and Muhammad Ali. So he's used to being on canvas. So please welcome Chipo Derisu. On screen, Chopin's played everything from fantasy adventure to period drama. But recently, he returned to the stage to play Shakespeare heavyweight Coriolanus. Chope, good to see you. Please. Thank you very much. I was thinking, this background's a bit plain, but now I see why. You brought the colour.
This print has a lot of meaning to me because my granddad passed recently, and this was the sort of print that we commissioned as the family for everyone who had attended his celebration memorial party.
But that's great to have a portrait in that particular print there, hanging on your wall. Would you like to pose, Chopin, now?
I can't look directly at any of you, can I?
You can do if you want.
I might take the glasses off. Is that all right?
The more your face moves, the more you get a sense of what your personality is like.
As still as possible would be great.
Do whatever you want. OK. In what order?
Artist, I can tell by the smell of oil paint and pencil sharpenings that you're ready for your challenge.
You have 4 hours to paint your portraits. Good luck, everyone. Your time starts now. Not all artists hurtle into this like an Olympic sport, but for today's 4-hour sprint, they still need to warm up by taking photos, sketching, or just looking.
I have got a strategy. I thought if I could do some sketching just to sort of get used to the sitter's face, and then I'm hoping to get straight onto the canvas with the oil paints. I think it will hopefully be a good painting day.
A part-time secretary, Lynn Aylward paints in her spare time and took 4 weeks to complete her self-portrait. She was keen to present a side of her character others don't always get to see. dressed up for a night out, and she chose a special type of canvas to enhance her vintage look.
This is a linen canvas, and I've only just started using them, so it's a bit of an experiment. I'm not sure about putting a background in at all because my canvas is so similar to the background. I'm going to have to make that decision in the next sort of hour or so, though, I think.
It's good to be started, yeah. I've chosen an angle that is side profiled. I can still see the other side of the face, which is quite actually a really nice angle.
Marcus Callum left a career in computer programming to pursue his lifelong passion for art. After 20 years in Australia, he recently moved back to England with his wife and family.
It's a very soulful self-portrait. I love the darkness of it. So how are you regarding Claire?
With all of the bright background colours, I'm going to struggle painting it in a similar way, so it's going to be something different.
Do you prefer this kind of moody, darker scene where the face emerges?
I tend to err towards the side of that, using a lot of blacks. I'm trying to make it a bit more contemporary, so it's moving away from that kind of style, but using that technique still.
Yeah. Your self-portrait took nearly 6 months.
Yeah, painted
You've
over.
got 4 hours. This is a dilemma, is it?
It's a huge dilemma, yes. I'm panicking.
How are you entertaining yourself while you sat over there?
I'm doing a police show tomorrow. I'm running through the lines.
Oh, yeah. It's really cool to have somebody who's worked in a creative and artistic industry for so long and has all this experience behind him. So, yeah, it's exciting for me.
An animation graduate from Manchester, Nicky Duffy fits painting around working in a restaurant and took 3 weeks to paint his self-portrait. Even though he normally paints from photographs, today he's keen to make the most of having a sitter.
You've got an interesting conversation going. Do you think that informs the painting a bit?
Well, it reduces tension for a start.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's that, yeah.
So it makes it easier, and it's nicer to get a sense of the person. I didn't know whether to do a full figure or crop it, but there's quite a bit of foreshortening, so it's going to be a bit hard to...
And then also, I think the head would be very small if you got the whole...
But he's got quite a strong shape to him.
If I had a choice of sitter, I think this would be the top.
You're saying the right things.
I know. OK, get on with it.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Cheers.
Mixing together individual colours of paint to recreate a sitter's exact skin tone can have varying results. But there are alternative methods that can help achieve consistency.
Dave, coloured pencils. It's not the coolest of the mediums, is it?
It's the only one I know. I used to mix paints and I'd lose track of how I made a certain colour. But then when I came across coloured pencils and saw all the colours are pre-mixed, it's like, yeah, that's the colour there. It's always the same colour every time you pick it up.
Amateur artist Dave Duffy is a session musician and teacher from Wexford in Ireland and took up drawing portraits 4 years ago. He wanted to reflect his insomniac state in his self-portrait, which he created in a single 30-hour stretch. I think of coloured pencils as something that makes you get very small and precise.
Yeah.
So at least you have some flamboyant sharpening to sort of take the edge off.
It's performance art as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great. I mean, these could be formed into something beautiful after.
I make little packets of potpourri at home. I like the smell of pencils, so... I like
You
to
don't,
say... I like
you
to
don't,
say,
do you, Dave? You're winding me up.
No.
You honestly make potpourri out of your pencil shavings?
And the whole house smells of pencils.
I love recycling at its most ornate. Brilliant.
The artists have nearly reached the 1 hour mark.
I'm a little bit worried. I've had a look at some of the other works, and they're all a lot further on than mine, so I've got to shift it, I think.
What I'm enjoying most about being here is just the atmosphere, the buzz. This is great. I could get used to this.
I'm pretty happy. All the foundations are in place then. I'm going to go in with colour, and that's when it gets really scary.
The artists have been at it for just under an hour, and while super still sitters like Claire Skinner, Chipo Derisu and Kenneth Cranham are an artist's dream, it seems there's just no pleasing some people.
I think you're always fighting that frozen look. My paintings that don't have everything in exactly the perfect place work better because the people seem a bit more alive, or that they move around, I think.
Samantha Fellows is a professional artist from London. She finished her submission in a couple of weeks. But as well as portrait commissions, she paints scenic art for the theatre. So she's used to ambitious deadlines and having her work under the spotlight.
So are we going to see that limited palette that you used in your submission?
Well, that's quite limited, isn't it? I love the colour of that leather. I mean, I'd love to get the texture of the leather in, the texture of the jacket. I love those brass buttons. I need to work on the face. I might try and hit all the skin, but then I'm worried I'm going to take too long on the skin because it's so complicated, and I'm going to have all this white canvas. So then I'm probably going to quickly try and get colour in everywhere so that my skin tones
have something to relate to.
Yes, exactly.
So that's quite important, is it? That you don't have that whiteness sitting against
I just
the
like
skin tones.
like a plan, actually. It looks like you've got it all planned, but actually you've got all these options.
Well, there's so many million options, aren't there?
Well, we'll stop talking to you then and let you get on with it.
Thank you.
I love to try and capture skin tones, you know, all kinds of different things going on. Skin reflects light, absorbs light, all at the same time. Finding those colours that pop out and make the painting come alive is the most interesting bit for me, I think.
Former graphic designer Danny Howes is a professional artist. His self-portrait, which took 6 hours to complete, features a clock alluding to working light and a nod to inspirational artist Van Gogh, showing that he values narrative as well as colour. The composition, has that come about because you're out on the wing in this lineup? You're wide of him?
I wanted to get as close in as possible to the face, but without losing the shirt. The shirt's important, you know. He's the star of the show, but so is the shirt. So the shirt needs to be big and proud at the same time.
I think it's a great idea. Have you been doing this a very long time?
I've been doing it since I was 10. Like back in the 70s, there was no health and safety. My gran bought me a full set of oil paints, turpentine, a lot.
So you're either going to be an artist or one of those blokes you see on waste ground drinking turp.
Or die of lead poisoning,
Yeah. Well, I think you've made the right choice.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All the artists painting Chipo seem keen to reference the significance of his shirt. But for one artist, it's not as simple as whether to include it or not.
It's important, but it can take too much space also. It's still a portrait, and I want to focus on his face to make the viewer concentrate more on his character.
Belgian artist Alix Philippe left a career in law to become a professional artist in London and took 10 days to create her self-portrait. Inspired by narrative art, she tries to conjure atmosphere in her work through her use of colour and composition.
You've got a very strong sitter,
Yeah.
and the background contrasts very nicely with his skin tone, and yet you've chosen to make it grey.
It's not the right color for the moment. I like to put a layer quite dark and then maybe make it brighter.
So this, which is quite dark now, is
Yeah.
going to get much paler as the day goes on.
I hope I will have time to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you're using acrylic, which dries very quickly.
So quickly.
So while we've been talking to you, all that paint has become rock hard.
Exactly. All my mix are finished.
Go on.
I can use it.
It's good. We
anymore.
keep you on your toes.
As well as grasping the unique qualities of their chosen medium, the qualities of their sitter give our artists just as much to think about. Claire's beauty is almost see-through, I think.
Yeah,
She's
that's really well put.
A delicacy about her.
There is a delicacy because she's got that lovely skin tone, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, but at the same time, it's quite structured, her face, so it's great if you're an artist because you can really get into it I think she's a dream sitter.
I think I might be a good sitter in terms of sitting still, but they asked each artist how they wanted me to sit, and then once in a while, I want you to move about, because I think that when your face is still, it's a bit of a mask. And I went, oh, OK. That was a very sort of perceptive thing.
Ty, he's a very impressive sitter, isn't he?
Yeah, he exudes it's sort of totemic sort of power. And I think it's got a lot to do with his beautiful shirt and his fantastic skin colour against this very neutral background. So they've got to really look for the colours and the tones and shape his skin.
And what is interesting is they're seeking out the blues and the shadows and the purples that you get on a black face.
Extraordinary colours.
Try my best to sit really still. Although I suppose it's not the same as like a slow shutter speed on a camera where if you move too much, you'll blur the picture. It's more just about helping them maintain their focus.
So I'm guessing from the set that Ken likes London.
One of the greatest pleasures that he has is wandering around the beautiful streets of London, particularly Bloomsbury.
He's a good sitter, isn't he?
He's incredibly still, but he is still communicating with all of the artists and engaging with them, which really helps the artists, because they need to have that little bit of context, I think, to build character and find character in that painting that they're making of his head.
I did a zombie thing in the north called In the Flesh. I was the vicar. The first 3 episodes are really good.
What happened in the 4th?
Well, they bumped me off.
Even if they're not chatting, the artists can connect with their sitters in their own individual ways. But that's not the only thing they're connecting with.
Jess, it's almost as if the act of painting is as important to you as what ends up on the canvas.
Oh, no, definitely. When I look at a painting, I look at how the paint is working before the subject.
So it's an incredibly selfish style of painting, really. It's very me.
Yeah.
Jessica Wolfson is a professional artist from Glasgow. She finds the lightness through building layer upon layer of paint, a process which can take months, 5 months in the case of her self-portrait. How do you know when you have completed your
I don't.
painting?
I just have to stop. Just like go, OK,
What exhaustion.
enough.
Of course, now I'm a little bit anxious that you'll keep pecking away.
Just seen a bit. I need to just sort that bit.
Oh, God, you've always just seen a bit,
so
though,
once
Jess.
I need to see it. But I'm just going to work about here for a bit, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Can't do any harm down there.
Yeah.
While most are well underway with paint, nearly halfway through the challenge, one artist is only just finishing the drawing.
What I try to do is look carefully at the sitter and write back at the board as well. So it's kind of just imagining what colours might come out later on. That's the part I'm nervous about, though.
A student from Singapore, Marion Miranda is studying fine art at Glasgow University and took 12 hours to complete her watercolour self-portrait. As this type of painting can't be layered, she must get the drawing right first. So it's still not clear if the colours in her submission will feature today.
You've caught something absolutely idiomatic about her profile.
Yeah.
You've got it there.
Still quite flat. And what I've tried to do is draw it in quite a sculptural way and to shade it quite carefully.
You've really done that. Like, the sculptural is the word. You've almost made the face into different planes. Have you been practicing?
Yeah, yes, I have. What I did was I put an ad online to give out free portraits.
No. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so sweet.
And what happened? You went online and you said...
Artists giving away free portraits, needing to practice.
So they were total strangers?
Yes.
They took up your offer, and that's how you practiced?
Yes.
That's really bold. That's terrific. What a wonderful story.
The artists are 2 hours into their challenge.
With the face and with the lightness, everything is pretty much there. Maybe this arm's not quite right, or this arm's not quite right, but I can sort that out later. So.
This is an electric eraser. Basically put some white details into the hair. So I'll go in later on and highlight each hair individually, if I have time.
I can't believe it's halfway. I mean, I really feel like I've been doing about 10 minutes. I think block in at least some colour on there, and then I'm going to concentrate on the skin for a while.
He's a bit soulless at the moment, so I need to like bring him alive, I think. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
The faces of Kenneth Cranham, Claire Skinner and Chope de Rissou are taking shape across the canvases. And as the portraits evolve, so do the judges' opinions.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because some people progress at an entirely different speed from others. Let's talk about the paintings of Claire.
I love what Marcus has done. You know, it's a big head, it's got these lovely grey tones, but the flesh is really complementing it. I think she'll love that one. I like what Dave's, yeah.
Coloured drawing is remarkable.
Unbelievable.
He's got so far
Yeah.
so quickly.
And it has a fairy tale quality.
He's taught himself to do this in the last couple of years. Where's he come from?
We were talking about that roundabout way of trying to find likeness, and Jess is stunning. And just the experience of looking and painting, instinctively the likeness is coming.
But we don't know whether that's what we're going to end up looking at the end, because she puts more and more on all the time. I'm still holding out for Sam. She's got a fantastic structure there. She's got a 3/4 length.
I'm kind of worried that the important bits are being left very little time. I just wonder whether her method, she's timed it right.
I love what Danny's doing.
He's approached it in a completely different way to all the others, actually. He started right in the centre at the eyes, and it's slowly emerging as he's placing one little band of colour after another.
Which makes it even more magical. I find it a bit sort of unspontaneous, but what is coming out is remarkable.
I haven't seen any of the paintings, so I'm starting to get really curious now. I think it's better to leave it until towards the end just to see which direction they're going.
I'm finding it a little bit difficult not to do anything, to perform in some kind of way. As an actor, I'm used to people looking at all of me and listening to me and responding to me emotionally, but it's quite nice just to try and let all that go.
I'm sat here trying to keep myself entertained, like, in my head, but not moving too much. I don't know if I have fallen asleep yet, but I feel myself going in that little roll where you go, oh, yeah, I'm back in the room. But I really hope you haven't caught me sleeping on camera, because that would be really awkward.
Is he nodding off a bit now?
He is a bit, yeah.
But does that
nice.
make it harder for
No,
you?
no, no. I actually quite like that because he's really relaxed.
But sometimes when people relax, do they still have that character in their face?
Yeah,
though?
his face is full of character. He's just a relaxed personality anyway, I think. And he's got a very contented pose and expression. So actually, if you just nod off a little bit, that doesn't really matter.
Bother you too much.
While it's a relaxing day for some, there's no rest for our artists, who are undoubtedly their own harshest critics. Well, usually. Can I be totally honest with you? I walked past about an hour ago and I thought, this guy's got no chance. That's awful. And now, what a fool I was.
I'm glad you like it now.
Yeah. So how do you feel it's going?
Well, I think I'm pretty much just going to have time to fill in his body. Might be able to get away with a bit more background, but I want to kind of make him stand out.
When I come back in 20 minutes' time, this could be a masterpiece.
Or I could have screwed it all up, you know, it could go either way.
Still, that's what this show's all about. Good luck.
Thanks, Frank.
Well, Sam, you've come a long way.
Thanks.
Haven't you? I mean,
I had to suddenly fill
just-
everything in.
You've got a whole story here.
I don't know. But I feel like I'm rushing now a bit. But I think it's still working. I just hope I have time at the end to tie it all in.
Don't
But obviously, I'm not going to
overdo
get... Exactly. I'm not, I'd love to get these brass tacks in.
You know, one
They're
lesson
really
I've always
cool.
learned in life is always pay attention to what Jane Bakewell says.
There are just 30 minutes left to try and secure a place at the semi-final.
I'm just going to crop the image down a bit more. Before it was a little bit off to one side, so this is the final stage now. Hopefully it looks a bit more finished when it's cropped.
I'm panicking because I haven't done anywhere near as much as I thought I would have by now. I should have had all of the paint on. It's got to work fast.
I love the way you've incorporated the shirt. Is there a fear with the last half an hour that you ruin it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just starting to shake a little bit.
Oh, no, don't worry, don't worry.
I think I'm finished. I just feel I'm fiddling now. Yeah, if I carry on working, I'll probably completely change it. And then it'll start a whole new painting.
Chope de Risu, Claire Skinner and Kenneth Cranham are coming to the end of their 4-hour sit-down. And our artists are coming to the end of their 4-hour artistic marathon.
It's not how I planned on doing it at all. I was thinking I'd be using darker tones. I don't know, I might try a bit of blue.
For the last few minutes, I just need to try and finish the pattern on the shirt, just to make it look a bit more coherent. Time's just crept up on me and just caught up with me, so...
Artists, there are 5 minutes to go.
I call it doing a pass, you know, just like going through, check, 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 you know, nudging things up, nudging things down.
I think I'm happy. Yeah, I've done the best I could. I'm just putting highlights into it now.
Kind of tweaking it. Well, I don't want to tweak it too much. I'm a bit worried about losing it at the last minute.
Artists, your time is up.
Put down your equipment and step back from your easels.
Having taken care all day not to look, at last our sitters get to see the finished portraits before choosing one to keep. Chope, you have been like a beautiful sailing boat going across the surface of a serene ocean. Are you excited about this
I'm
bit?
terrified, but it'll be okay.
Can you please turn your easels?
I can't even look. Oh, man. This is incredible, man. The texture of the face and the different brushstrokes, beautiful. The amount of color that's in my face, it's not just brown. It's really great. It's really contemplative. It's a really important part of me, and I think you captured that really beautifully, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a fabulous piece of art criticism. I have nothing to add to that.
I'm going to go with Danny's.
Wow. I look very grim, don't I? I look like somebody in a science fiction film. I really love the range of colours and the tone of it. I think that's beautiful. It's very strong, but that is the master of the universe, that one, isn't it?
Is that how you think of yourself?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. The face is perhaps the face that most looks like me, and I quite like seeing this around it, the map. This is really hard. I think I'm going to go for this one.
Oh, thank you so much. You're wonderful.
Gosh. Oh, wow. I love the eyes. I absolutely see it as me, but not me. It's a real sort of push-me-pull-you thing, and I really like that. When I was sitting, I felt like I wanted to laugh. That's me trying not to, and it's very sort of alive. Yeah, I love that too. That's the sad bit of me. People that know me very, very well, they would recognise that.
Are you quite miserable in everyday
I'm
life?
a pretty grumpy cow.
Well, then you don't really need that on your wall.
I'd go for this one.
The artists have done their part, so now it's all up to the judges.
I find this such a romanticised portrait.
For me, it feels a bit more serious than just being romantic.
I think there's a lot going on in her mind as she sat there, and I think he's got that pensiveness, but there's a rich sort of hinterland of thought.
This is just so brilliantly quirky, isn't it?
One of the things that I found wrong was this eye. From the place she was sitting, you wouldn't have been able to see that eye.
Dave certainly has caught something of Claire, but Claire had this little nose and a lovely jawline.
There were moments when he really seemed to have Claire, but then it slightly tips into caricature for me. I think that's where it goes a little bit wrong.
Yeah. The body's probably not quite right, but I can forgive it that because it's telling a good story, I feel.
The painting is a bit unresolved, but you're right, it does capture him very well. It was quite interesting seeing the likeness come and go, but I do think it was a bit better early on in the day.
Nikki's definitely caught something of Kenneth. I can't quite work out what it is.
He got it together in the end, and I think as a whole it works as a painting. Alex, he put that grey background in, but there is a great sense of looking through a window into a scene, and it works very well.
I'm so pleased Danny's managed to do quite a good stab at the shirt because I think he felt a bit guilty that he hadn't done it, and he was really rushing to do it in the last half an hour.
He's got this fantastic shadow sitting over the right.
It's
great. It's just fabulous. It just pushes him forward.
It sort of harks back to illustration or graphics or something like that.
Actually, the submission's got the same retro vintage quality to it as well. It's almost like she kind of freezes people in time or something.
To help the judges narrow it down, they first select a short list of 3.
I wonder, could we move that one, the little one, to one side?
Well, that would be a very nice selection, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, who have they chosen?
The first artist on the shortlist is Marcus Callum.
And the second is Sam Fellows.
And the third and final artist on the shortlist is Danny Howes.
Our commiserations to all the rest, but that doesn't mean that the work you did wasn't exceptional and enjoyed by us all, so thank you very much indeed.
Absolutely.
It was a beautiful experience to see how to paint very quickly, and I think I I already improved. Is it possible? I don't know.
While we don't always agree with the judges' choices, we can at least subject their rationale to rigorous interrogation. Congratulations on your choice. I like all of them.
Should we go? We might have time to revise.
Must be something wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the end of our conversation. But it's been great. Just to establish, you are now taking into account both the submission, the self-portrait, and what they did today, just to make it a little bit harder.
Well, actually, I think it's helpful to take the submission into account because it gives you a fuller picture of them as an artist.
I looked across at Sam lying on her bed. I actually thought for a second, is that the light coming? The light.
Yeah.
I keep getting drawn back to the light on that face.
What I like is that there are all heads except for the one with a complete picture, and I think that makes that really rather special.
We know that she does a lot of scene painting anyway, but you know, she's clearly a good portrait painter. That experience does shine through.
Now, Danny, I love the skin tones. He was saying to me, look, can you see the blue on his lip? Can you see the grade? I couldn't. I just couldn't.
I think he's also looking back at some of the great masters. I mean, Cézanne in particular used these little rectangles and squares of colour that he would lay on in order to build up a sense of the presence, and that's what he does.
I think you're right. There is some kind of weird abstract magic happening where he's putting in colours that he sees but doesn't quite believe, and it sort of comes together.
What about Marcus?
I prefer what he did today to his submission. I found his submission a little bit too...
creepy?
You call it creepy. I like creepy. I think it's really nicely creepy.
I like the fact that he's lightened up. He's really caught her deep in thought.
She's almost angelic, isn't she, in it? And maybe it's that blue that makes it pop out.
He put the blue on in the last 10 minutes.
All of them have such redeeming qualities.
You've got a hard task.
Yeah, this is horrible, actually. They're all really good.
Marcus, Sam, Danny, congratulations to each of you for reaching the shortlist. But only one can go forward.
Yes, and the judges have decided who that artist will be. The winner of today's heat is... Danny House.
Congratulations to the others too. Well done.
I love Danny's portrait, and it's gorgeous. The brush marks, you can see where his brush hits and ends, the colours over the face. Really worthy winner.
Well done, Marcus.
I thought that was someone's self-portrait from, you know, that they'd had months to work on, not something they'd done in 4 hours. So, yeah, I was pretty impressed.
The standard today was exceptional, but Danny's just a great artist who caught the likeness in front of him fantastically with very abstract brush marks. It was a beautiful piece of painting. Obviously, he's a master of what he does, and now our job really is to push him into the next level.
Really pleased that the judges thought my work was the standout work of the day, and yeah, looking forward to the semi-final. Can't wait.